Hello everyone. I'm Fred Yelverton, turfgrass weed scientist at NC State, and we did a little video just a little while ago about weed management or POA management in warm season grasses. Now let's talk about cool season grasses, because we certainly have both here. You know, this is some strategies you want to look at going from late summer into fall. Now, one of the questions that we get on tall fescue is, how in the world do you manage Poa annua in fescue? And we'll talk about other broadleaves here in a moment. So let's talk about Poa annua for a second. So there's two ways to manage Poa annua in tall fescue. One is you can use a pre-emergence herbicide like a prodiamine, pendimethalin, something like that, prior to September 1 or about September 1. The reason you need to use it then is because about 80% of our Poa germinates from about September 1 through end of October, even though you don't see it, right? So if you use a pre-emergence like a dimension or prodiamine or something like that, dithiopyr, the problem is you can't overseed. And that gives a lot of people heartburn, because you say, well, I got to overseed. Okay, so what do you do if you do overseed? Well, there's still an answer, and that answer is ethofumicate. Most people know it by ProGrass, but you can use that on tall fescue. You can seed, let's say in September, and then come back in October and November and use 2 applications of ProGrass in the fall on tall fescue, even if it was seeded, and that is an excellent Poa control strategy. The other, so that's what you do in a case where you do seed. Tall fescue is very tolerant, even small tall fescue is very tolerant of ethofumicate. So keep that in mind. Look at the label and see when you can put it out. But actually, just small young fescue is going to be tolerant. You'll need 2 applications. I like to start about October 15th, 20th, and then come back 3 weeks later with a repeat application, and that's a good strategy in tall fescue. Now, let me just make a comment about winter annual weeds, other winter annual, like broadleaves, like henbit and chickweed, and all that stuff that comes in. We have a ton of them here in North Carolina, and it's a major group of weeds that we manage. When can you apply your herbicides? Okay, so if you seed tall fescue, let's say in September, what you want is, before you put any 2,4-D containing products, like a Speed Zone or something like that on it, you want to make sure that tall fescue is tillered and it's basically growing pretty good. You don't want to put it on pre-tiller tall fescue at all, particularly anything containing 2,4-D, but even the other ones that don't contain 2,4-D, you still don't want to be applying those to tall fescue that's in the seedling stage. So the earlier you seed, the quicker you can come back and make those applications. And we talk about these, I get people ask me all the time, well, I can seed tall fescue in early September. That's, it's awfully hot. That's actually an excellent time to seed, and one of the main drivers for that is the fact that you have herbicide tolerance quicker in the fall and then over with your pre-emergence in the spring. So, just be aware that when you put those post-emergence herbicides out on tall fescue, if you seeded them, make sure you don't seed and then come back 2 weeks later and put those products out, because you'll definitely injure or even kill those young fescue seedlings. So again, winter annuals germinate in the fall. They kind of go somewhat dormant here in the middle of winter, and then they explode in the spring and they flower and they die. A lot of people want to wait until the spring to control them. That's not the best strategy. What you want to do is concentrate your control practices in the fall, because those plants are small. I've seen a lot of winter annuals. We're here in mid-October. I've seen a lot of tiny little winter annuals up right now. It's a perfect time to kill them if your fescue's big enough. So keep those things in mind, and you'll get beautiful tall fescue over in the spring.